The sound of clinking glasses and muffled conversations filled the air at Café Chloe in East Village, but all I could focus on was the empty chair across from me, again. My date had just texted, 20 minutes late, saying something about unexpected work emergency and rain check. I stared at the message on my phone, feeling that familiar knot in my stomach that had become my companion over the past 2 years of dating disasters. My name is Carmen, I'm 54, and I was convinced that finding love after 50 was like searching for a needle in a haystack while blindfolded. But what happened in that restaurant that Tuesday evening would change everything I thought I knew about manifestation and the power of intention. As I sat there, debating whether to order the salmon anyway or just leave, I noticed an elderly woman at the table next to me. She was dining alone, but unlike me, she radiated this incredible energy, confident, serene, almost luminous. She caught me looking and smiled warmly. "Stood up?" she asked gently, her eyes twinkling with understanding rather than pity. I laughed despite myself. "Is it that obvious?" "Only because I've been there, mija." She had a slight accent, maybe Cuban or Colombian. "Mind if I share something with you? I promise it's not what you think." Something about her presence made me nod. She gestured to the empty chair at my table. "May I?" As she settled across from me, I felt this strange shift in the air, like the universe had suddenly pressed pause on my pity party. The universe is listening, I thought, though I wasn't sure why that phrase popped into my head. 27 years ago, she began, stirring her coffee slowly, I was exactly where you are. 53, divorced, convinced my best years were behind me. I sat in restaurants just like this one, feeling invisible, wondering if I'd ever feel desired again. My heart clenched. She was describing my exact fears. But then I met someone who taught me something revolutionary. Not a man, a woman actually, a spiritual teacher. She told me that I was approaching love all wrong. I was trying to attract someone from a place of lack, of desperation. She said I needed to fall in love with myself first, to raise my vibration to match what I truly desired. I felt my skepticism rising. "You mean, like, positive thinking?" She chuckled. "Much deeper than that, Querida. She taught me that your thoughts create your reality, but it's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about becoming the person who naturally attracts the love you want." The waiter approached, and she ordered another coffee. I found myself ordering the salmon after all, suddenly hungry for both food and whatever wisdom this woman was sharing. "Tell me," she continued, "when you imagine your ideal partner, what do you focus on?" I thought about it. "Well, I want someone kind, successful, who makes me laugh." "And how do you feel when you think about not having that person?" The question hit me like a slap. Anxious, lonely, like I'm running out of time. Exactly. You're manifesting from fear, not love. Vibrational alignment means matching the energy of what you want to attract. If you want to attract confident, joyful love, you need to embody confidence and joy first. But what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about the law of attraction. She leaned forward, her eyes serious. "I'm going to share something with you that might sound impossible, but I need you to trust me." After I learned these principles, I didn't just find love. I attracted 3 different men within 6 months. All amazing, all completely smitten. I had to choose. My jaw dropped. 3? At 53? At 53, 54, and 55. Each one taught me something different about conscious creation. But the most important lesson was this. I had to become the woman who deserved extraordinary love. She pulled out her phone and showed me a photo. Her with a distinguished man, both of them glowing, clearly deeply in love. "This is Roberto. We've been together 26 years now, married for 24. "How?" I whispered. First, I stopped dating entirely. For 3 months, I focused on creating my dream life as a complete person. I started salsa dancing, something I'd always wanted to try. I took that art class I'd been putting off. I traveled to places that made my soul sing. I practiced gratitude daily, not just for what I wanted, but for who I was becoming. The waiter brought our food, but I barely noticed. I was hanging on her every word. Then I did something that felt crazy at the time. I started writing love letters, to myself. Every morning, I'd write what I wanted to hear from a partner. Carmen, you are radiant. Carmen, your laugh lights up the room. Carmen, you deserve to be adored. I was programming my subconscious to believe I was worthy of that love. This reminded me of something I'd read about Louise Hay and affirmations, but this felt more personal, more powerful. After 6 weeks of this practice, something shifted. I started noticing men everywhere, not desperately, but with this new awareness. The universe began sending me signs. A stranger complimented my smile at the grocery store. My neighbor asked if I was seeing someone because I looked different. My energy was transforming. She paused to take a bite, letting me process. But the real magic happened when I stopped trying to manifest a specific person and started attracting abundance in all forms. I visualized myself as a woman who was cherished, but I didn't attach it to any particular face or story. Like Neville Goddard's teachings about feeling it real? I asked, surprising myself with the reference. I'd been reading about manifestation for months, but never applied it to my love life. Her eyes lit up. Exactly. You know his work? Perfect. Yes, I would spend 20 minutes every night in that feeling state, being held, being adored, being seen as the magnificent woman I was, not hoping for it, not wishing for it, but feeling it as if it were already true. But what she told me next made my heart race with possibility. The first man I attracted was a customer at the bookstore where I worked. He started coming in every day, buying books he probably never read, just to talk to me. Sweet, successful, completely smitten. But after a few weeks, I realized he represented my old pattern. I was attracting someone who needed me to fill a void, not someone who celebrated my wholeness. I leaned forward. So what did you do? I thanked the universe for the lesson and gently declined his advances. I was learning to trust that better was coming. Synchronicity was already showing me I was on the right path. She smiled at the memory. The second man was a fellow dancer from my salsa class. Passionate, artistic, made me feel like I was 25 again. We had 3 magical months together. But I realized I was attracted to the excitement, not the man himself. I was still manifesting from a place of wanting to feel young again, not from authentic self-love. And Roberto? Roberto appeared when I finally stopped trying. I was at the farmer's market, completely in my element, buying ingredients for a dinner party I was throwing, just for myself and a few friends. I was radiating pure joy, completely present. He was the vendor selling the most beautiful tomatoes I'd ever seen, and when our eyes met, she paused, her face softening. It was like universal recognition, not desperate attraction, but deep knowing. My salmon was getting cold, but I couldn't eat. What was different about him? He saw me, not the potential of me, not what I could become, but who I was in that moment. And I saw him the same way. We talked for 3 hours at that market, and it felt like coming home. She reached across and touched my hand. Here's what I learned, Carmen, and yes, I know your name because I heard you on the phone earlier canceling your Uber. The law of attraction isn't about getting someone to love you. It's about becoming so aligned with love that you naturally attract someone who matches that vibration. But the most powerful part of her story was still coming. 6 months after Roberto and I started dating, I was cleaning out old journals and found my manifestation writing from that time. I had written, I am attracting a man who sees beauty in simple things, who makes me laugh until my sides hurt, who treats me like I'm the most fascinating woman in the world. I had completely forgotten writing those words. But there they were, a perfect description of Roberto. That's incredible, I breathed. That's quantum manifestation, mija. When you align your energy with what you desire, the universe conspires to bring it to you. But here's the key. I wasn't attached to the outcome. I wasn't desperately trying to force love into my life. I was simply creating space for it. She glanced at her watch. Roberto is picking me up in 10 minutes. We're going to the symphony, our Tuesday tradition. She stood and placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. Your spiritual awakening is beginning, whether you realize it or not. That man who didn't show up tonight, he did you a favor. He's not vibrationally aligned with the love you're calling in. As she gathered her purse, she left me with one final piece of wisdom. Start tomorrow. Write yourself a love letter. Take yourself on a date. Fall in love with your own company. The man who's meant for you is already manifesting you into his life. You just need to raise your vibration to meet him." She walked away, leaving me alone with my cold salmon and a mind buzzing with possibilities. For the first time in months, I felt excited about being single. Not because I was giving up on love, but because I was finally ready to attract it from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. That night, I went home and wrote my first love letter to myself. "Dear Carmen," I began, "you are a woman of depth and beauty. Your laugh is contagious. Your heart is brave enough to love again." As I wrote, I felt something shifting inside me, a positive mindset taking root where fear had lived for so long. 3 weeks later, I was at Seaport Village, having taken myself on a solo sunset dinner date. I was practicing this new art of conscious creation, not looking for love, but embodying it. I was fully present, watching the boats bob in the harbor, feeling genuinely content with my own company. That's when I noticed him. He was at the table next to mine, also dining alone, sketching something in a notebook. When he looked up and our eyes met, I felt that same universal recognition the woman had described. Not desperate attraction, but deep knowing. "Beautiful evening," he said, his voice warm and genuine. "The most beautiful," I replied, and meant it. His name was David, and he was an architect who had moved to San Diego 6 months earlier for a fresh start after his divorce. He was 52, kind-eyed, and when he smiled, I felt like I was seeing sunshine for the first time. We talked until the restaurant closed, then walked along the harbor for another 2 hours. He told me about his passion for sustainable design, his love of cooking, his dream of traveling to small Italian villages. I shared my recent journey of self-discovery, my newfound love of salsa dancing, my work as a social worker, helping families navigate crisis. "I have to ask," he said, as we reached my car. "What's different about you? I've been on several dates since moving here, and I've never felt this at ease, like I can be completely myself." I thought about the woman's words about vibrational alignment. "I think I finally learned to love my own company," I said. "It changes everything." He nodded knowingly. "I've been working on that too. There's something magnetic about people who are comfortable in their own skin." But the real synchronicity came when he walked me to my car. "This might sound strange," he said, "but I've been writing in a journal lately about the kind of woman I want to meet. Someone who's confident, compassionate, who makes me feel like I'm the most interesting man in the world." My heart stopped. Those were almost the exact words I'd been affirming about myself. "Would you like to have dinner tomorrow?" he asked. "I know a great little place in Little Italy." As I drove home that night, I felt like I was floating. Not because I'd met someone, though David felt special, but because I finally understood what the woman had been teaching me. Your thoughts create your reality, but more than that, your energy creates your experiences. David and I have been together for 8 months now. We're taking it slow, building something real and lasting. He treats me exactly how I learned to treat myself, with respect, admiration, and genuine delight. We cook together, explore San Diego's hidden gems, and yes, he comes to my salsa classes now. But the most beautiful part isn't the relationship itself. It's who I've become in the process. I'm still the same Carmen, but I'm vibrationally aligned with love, joy, and possibility. I wake up every morning grateful for my life, whether David is there or not. Last week, I was back at Cafe Chloe, this time with David, when I saw another woman sitting alone, checking her phone with that familiar look of disappointment. I thought about going over, sharing what I'd learned, but something held me back. Instead, I sent out a silent intention. Universe, if she's ready, send her the right teacher at the right time. 20 minutes later, I watched a radiant older woman approach her table with a warm smile. Some stories, I realized, are meant to repeat themselves, each time manifesting exactly what's needed. If you're reading this and you're where I was that Tuesday night in East Village, know this: your spiritual awakening to love is already beginning. The fact that you're here, listening to this story, means you're ready to raise your vibration and attract the love you deserve. Love after 50 isn't just possible, it's magical. Because by the time we reach this age, we know who we are. We've learned to love ourselves through the fire of experience. We're not looking for someone to complete us. We're looking for someone to complement us. The universe is listening to your heart's deepest desires. Trust the process. Fall in love with your own life first. The rest will follow in perfect synchronicity. Your love story is waiting to be written. Are you ready to consciously create it? If you believe that love has no expiration date, comment below. I am ready for love. I'd like this video if it inspired you to see dating after 50 in a new light. And subscribe for more stories about manifesting your dream life at any age. Share this with someone who needs to remember that their greatest love story might still be unwritten. The universe is always conspiring in your favor. Trust the timing. Trust yourself. Trust love.